Joe, we are still going to be talking about that heat. It is really moving into South Australia. We're probably going to be talking about the cyclone off the northwest as well. Adelaide, 45 degrees, some gusty northerlies, really ramping up the temperatures there. It's going to get even hotter in the southeast at the end of the week.
Thanks, Nate. Some angry Liberals are tearing up their party memberships on the New South Wales South Coast over a decision to parachute in former Labor President Warren Mundine to run in the federal seat of Gilmore. Local members had already pre-selected real estate agent Grant Schultz as their candidate before the state executive intervened. Mr Schultz says the people of Gilmore have been betrayed.
There was, as you may recall, a poll that was distributed through the electorate which mentioned Warren Mundine. At that stage, that really confirms the suspicions we'd had already that something was going on due to the length of time taken to actually endorse me. I'm quite happy to talk to Mr Mundine. I have no problem with him whatsoever, in fact. He seems a decent enough fellow. I don't actually know him, so no, that's a decision for him. My reference there is in response to the betrayal of the party's core values of honesty, democracy and integrity. It's very disappointing to see that, I must say, and I'm disappointed not for myself but for the people of Gilmore and very much so the membership who have also, I believe, been not just let down but betrayed. There's no doubt. I described myself yesterday as the underdog's underdog. I've got an enormous battle. We've got enormous resources being poured into the Labor Party. Of course, the Liberal Party appears by all accounts to still run an independent. They'll obviously resource that independent as well. I'm still putting together a team as an independent at this stage. It wasn't something, while we considered it and planned for it, we hadn't taken to the point of implementing that plan of responding. We won't know until polling day whether they've lost a seat or who has won the seat. Let's be under no illusions about that. The poll is potentially around 4 months away in May, mid to early May. But going to your comment, look, I made that comment absolutely, and as did Shelley. And Shelley's a great representative of her electorate of South Coast. My anger arose, as I've said, out of the dismissal of the will of both the members of this party and the people of Gilmore. And from the outset, as you rightly said, I pre-selected against Anne, sitting member. I did so to give the people of Gilmore an opportunity and a choice.
Grant Schultz there, and we're expecting the Prime Minister will hold a media conference at some stage today, possibly alongside Warren Mundine, and we'll bring you that live here on the ABC News channel when that happens. There are 6 bushfire emergency warnings for communities in Tasmania and dozens of fires burning across the state. Reporter Ellen Coulter has spoken with a Port Huon resident in the south. His biggest concern at the moment is the smoke.
Been pretty worried because of smoke mostly. That's been the most worst bit to breathe.
Have you seen smoke and ash like this
not
before?
like this, no, not even with burn-offs.
And what about later in the week? Do you have concerns about that, or any of them are laid?
No, because all the information's been given to us from where to go, what you should be doing, what you should be preparing for, your radio information, internet information, everything. It was really good. Yeah, as I said, it calms you down. If you know what's going on, you tend not to panic.
Yeah, and you can stay across all that information listening to ABC Local Radio and logging on to the Tassie Fire Service website. The Melbourne woman who escaped major injury when a freeway sign crushed her car will have to wait up to a year before finding out whether she can sue for compensation. Nella Latieri says she wants Vic Roads and, geez, it's shocking every time you see that, isn't it? She wants Vic Roads and Transurban held accountable after it was revealed the sign was missing a steel plate. She says she's now too scared to drive and was anxious when family members were driving. Lawyer Tony Carboni says his client will have to wait 8 to 12 months before applying to the Transport Accident Commission for a serious injury assessment. David Attenborough has called for an urgent global plan to tackle environmental problems. He's been speaking at a gathering of world leaders and business people in the Swiss town of Davos. Prince William also spoke at the forum, asking David Attenborough why those in key positions had taken so long to address climate change. The broadcaster told the Prince that it was difficult to overstate the urgency needed to tackle climate change.
Davos, playground for the rich and conference hall for the powerful. But look who's also here. A first-time visitor come to discuss climate change. A future monarch interviewing a man seen by many as broadcasting royalty.
Normally I have to endure people asking me questions, so it's quite nice to turn the tables for once.
And his subject, the global threat to the environment.
How urgent is that crisis now?
It's difficult to overstate it. The mechanisms that we have for destruction are so wholesale and so frightening that we can actually exterminate whole ecosystems without even noticing it.
But note this, Sir David wasn't the only one with a point to make. Prince William is no longer just talking about protecting wild animals.
Why do you think the world leaders and those in key positions of leadership, why do you think they've taken so long and there have been quite a few faltering steps to act on environmental challenges? What advice do you have for my generation?
Every breath of air we take, every mouthful of food that we take comes from the natural world. And that if we damage the natural world, we damage ourselves.
Turning specifically to the people in this room, what is your message to them?
Care for the natural world. Treat it with a degree of respect and reverence. The future of the natural world is in our hands. We have never been more powerful. We can wreck it with ease.
The question, of course, is whether this call to arms falls on deaf ears, because not everyone here is as concerned about climate change, and one of them just happens to be speaking here next, in exactly the same conference hall. The new president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, is sceptical about global warming and argued that growing his economy was as important as protecting the environment. Many business leaders here say they do understand the threat of climate change, but now their words have to be matched by deeds.
A convoy of